And we're live. This is Mahabali from Virtually Connecting, and we are virtually connecting with ELI conference in Houston, Texas. And today, specifically for this session, we're going to be talking about the NMC Horizon report. We have quite a few people who've been working on it, and other people who will be discussing it. So I'll just hand over to. We have an interesting combination today because some of the people who are supposed to be on site aren't right now. So we have more virtual people who are supposed to be at the conference, but so I'll ask Autumn and Kyle to introduce themselves, and then I'll ask people in virtually to introduce themselves.
All right, hi, my name is Autumn Keynes, and I am the Associate Director of Academic Technology at Capital University and the co-director of Virtually Connecting. I'm here at ELI. I have a paper copy of the Horizon report. There it is right there, one of the elusive paper copies.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm excited to be here and to talk with all of you.
Yeah, so I'm Kyle Johnson. I'm the CIO at Chaminade University in Honolulu. And since I'm in Honolulu, we did not have snow problems, so I was able to get to the conference. So,
do you ever have snow in Hawaii? I don't want to stereotype.
Yeah, we actually do on Mauna Kea, but no place that like people actually live. So.
Okay. All right. So I'll ask our virtual folks to introduce themselves, and Alan does these games sometimes at the beginning with introductions, so I'm going to do a game as well. Tell us something that caught your attention in the NMC report. So I'll start with Alan because he's the first one on my screen, and Bryan, Christina, Michael, and Sam. Even if you worked on the report, what was something you liked about the report? You could say the cover, you know, you could say whatever.
This is like a quiz, Maha. Okay, because I just got it like now. No, Alan Levine. I'm from my house in Strawberry, Arizona, and in a previous lifetime, I worked at NMC on a couple Horizon reports. And right when Sam started, I left a little after. I guess actually the thing when I was there, the Horizon report is this skinny little thing. So. The amount of information there seems to be about 5 times as much and a lot more graphics. And I really like the design. And honestly, I read through every page. I kind of looked at them, but I haven't read them yet. I like the new format. It's a vast improvement over the first ones.
Bryan?
This is Bryan Alexander coming from Vermont with a local prop. Just to show you, we are the opposite of Hawaii in that we all live where there's lots of snow. It gives us stronger virtue. Is that? And so I'm a futurist. I work in the future of higher education. I was supposed to go to ELI, but a blizzard grounded our planes, so I'm here right now. Nice to hear all of you.
So glad you could make it. Christina, and then Michael. And I know Eden just walked in, I think, so after Sam introduces herself. So Christina, Michael, Sam.
I'm Christina Hendricks. I'm in Vancouver, British Columbia in Canada. And so you asked about the Horizon report. I got it like just a little bit ago, so earlier today. So, but I did notice there was one part I really wanted to read, which was the changing role of the educator. Something about, you know, how do we, given all these changes in educational technology, what is the role of the educator? And that's something that I'm really interested in because I teach, I'm an educator. I teach philosophy at the university level. So that's it for me for now.
Hi, I'm Michael Berman, and I'm coming to you from the land of no virtue, but warm breezes and pleasant margaritas and sitting on the shore watching the ocean. So, but completely without virtue. So. We just have to deal with it. I'm one of the advisory buddies for Virtually Connecting, and I'm on the board of NMC. And I haven't read the Horizon report yet, but I'm going to be flying to Houston tomorrow. And that's one of the things I hope will keep me company on the plane, the warm glow of the NMC Horizon report. But pleased to see all of you here, and look forward to the discussion.
Awesome, Michael. I'm glad you're going to be engaging in some light reading, some light summer reading on the plane. That's great. I'm Samantha Adams-Becker, and I'm the Senior Director of Publications and Communications at the NMC. And my role there, I am report editor for the NMC Horizon Report series, and just had my 6-year anniversary with the NMC, and I realized I've now authored or co-authored upwards of 60 plus Horizon themed publications. So lots of change we've documented over time, but probably my favorite part about the report are the examples that we get to feature. Because when we talk about positive trends and solving pressing challenges and really creative technology use, we get to shine a light on universities and colleges that are doing wonderful work all over the world that may otherwise go unrecognized. And some people, may not have models to look to, and suddenly they open the report and think, hey, we could be doing that. And that's really exciting for me.
Great, and I just wanted to jump in. Matt is letting me jump in briefly because we have 2 people who have recently celebrated birthdays here. So both Eden and Bryan just had birthdays. It's almost the same day. Is there anyone else who has a birthday this week?
Birthday people. Birthday people.
Happy birthday to the 2 of you.
Do you want to introduce yourself, Eden?
Happy birthday. And now Eden.
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. Can you hear me okay? We're in a public space. Yeah. Okay. My name is Eden Dahlstrom, and I'm the Executive Director of the New Media Consortium, and I've been a consumer of the Horizon for years, and I'm excited to be on the producer side now. The things that excite me about this year's report are the longitudinal trends aspect. I really like the visual depiction of that. And the other thing is the meta themes. Being able to think about the themes in terms of the categorizing them into larger chunks that perhaps go across the challenges, the trends, and the technologies.
We actually didn't ask Kyle and Autumn what they thought, and I just realized that I had a time zone advantage. I think Sam sent the report her night, which was my morning, so I've had all day to look at it. So Kyle and Autumn, I don't know if you guys have had a chance to look at it.
Yeah, honestly,
yeah, no.
I have, this is the moment I saw it. So I'm probably going to try to say something moderately intelligent later, but we'll wait for now.
Give us your hot take, man. We're ready.
I'm still waiting for the day Virtually Connecting shows up inside the report. But since that's not going to happen, we're putting the report inside Virtually Connecting until you guys figure it out next year.
Maybe we.
But no, I wanna say something that Sam told me this morning that I thought was really interesting. I was commenting on the expert panel, and I was like, why do you have people from certain countries and not others? And I let her say this and tell people the link, because I think that was a very interesting thing to learn, and this is one way to tell people there are already 5 people watching us now.
Oh yeah, thank you so much. So what people may not know is that if you want to join an expert panel, it's as easy as nominating yourself. We have a web form. It's at go.nmc.org/panel. And I will definitely tweet out the link later for my own personal account and also from NMC. But anyone who's interested in serving and making sure their voice is heard, absolutely, please nominate yourself, nominate worthy colleagues, and our goal, if possible, would be to have representation from every country in the world. So we were specifically short on folks from the Middle East and also Africa this year, and we'd really like to change that for upcoming editions especially, but really anyone anywhere in the world, please nominate yourself. We'd love to hear from you.
There we go. Oh, all right. Oh, okay, yeah.
Joe.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, introduce yourself very quickly for people who
Joe
don't know.
Murphy. I'm the director of the Center for Innovative Pedagogy at Kenyon College.
And Joe is the person who is masterminding the Virtually Connecting at ELI this year. So thank you for this.
But
Except for this session, which was very difficult to organize.
yes. But you did it with a lot. You did it a lot faster than I did mine, which was pretty impressive.
Okay, I'm seeing people on the chat over here, which people watching can't see. Everyone talking about their history with NMC, and one of the, like Eden said, I like this historical, how the themes are changing over time. I thought that was a very interesting part of the infographic. And so different people here have participated in the Horizon report at different times. So would you guys like to share some of that history and then how that relates to what we have this year?
Sure. This is Bryan. I go back roughly 10 years, and I've been, I chaired the panel once, And every year I give between 1 and 5 talks or workshops based in Horizon. So it's really sweet to see it continue to develop.
Yeah, and I was, it's been so long, I think I got my years mixed up. So I think that was the 2004, Mike, that there wasn't there a meeting out in California some ways. I remember Cyprian Lomas. I was working at the Maricopa Community Colleges, and I think we'd been involved as NMCs as members since 2002. And I remember Larry asking me to be part of that. And then 2 years later, I was working for them. But it was kind of it was a little club back then. I think we did a lot of the everything was done by email, if I remember right. And so they used to do all the voting. Larry had this Word document that people would fill out their votes and their comments, and he would get these things and shuffle it. And I think when I started NMC, I built a system which may or still not be used for doing the voting, because that seemed to be like a really terrible thing to have to manage all these Word documents floating around. And a big part always was, I think even before I started, that a lot of the work was done in a wiki. 1 year it was run, I think, out of MIT, and then we started using the Wikispaces site. So humble beginnings.
Yeah.
I just have a quick question. As somebody who's really not that familiar with how this all works, I wonder if you could say something a bit more about what an expert panel does, especially if you're suggesting, possible volunteers.
Absolutely, I'd be happy to address that, and then I'd love to turn it over to, I know Bryan, Michael, anyone who's served on an expert panel. But the idea is that we take an online collaborative workspace, such as a wiki, and the NMC adds, questions and different articles and different prompts, and we convene this expert panel. This year's consisted of 78 individuals from 22 countries, and we basically just let them go on this collaborative workspace and engage in these discussions for about 3 months to really talk about how various trends, challenges, and technologies are materializing on their campuses, at their organizations. We have a starter list of topics always that include things like mobile learning, artificial intelligence, and things of that nature. But we also really draw expertise from our expert panel around developing brand new topics. So for example, in this year's report, next generation LMS was a brand new topic proposed by the panel. So it's an opportunity to discuss how, the various topics are really truly impacting people in the trenches, but also what aren't we thinking about that we should be thinking about. And then after 3 months of this intense, discourse back and forth, we take all of the topics, the starter list, the new ones proposed, and we put them into a voting system, and each person goes in and actually votes on the topics they believe are poised for deep impact over the next 5 years, placing them in time to adoption horizons, or in the case of challenges, scope of difficulty, how hard of a challenge is it to solve. And then we have a list of 36. We're not done yet, because we have the expert panel then whittle that down. We call the final round of voting survivor voting, because they're looking at the initial interim results and actually kicking topics off the island, from their initial list. And that's how we whittle it down to the final 18 that get featured in the report. So then it's turned over to the NMC staff. We stay in touch with the panel throughout. We ask them to submit projects and initiatives for inclusion. And in fact, so many of the projects and the initiatives and the organizations listed in the report are user submitted, just like the topics are user chosen. And then we get the fun job, the NMC team, of synthesizing it all into the report that you see here today.
And let me just mention that, and Sam could go through the list, but the higher education is the original Horizon report and the one that's the best known, but we've done how many, maybe 15 or 20 other versions over the years, and there's, in any given year, there's usually 5 or 6 different Horizon reports. So maybe you could run down some of the ones we're doing right now, Sam.
Sure, that's a really great point. We do about 10 a year. So right now we're just kind of in the midst of our global library report, which is coming out in March, in partnership with several European libraries and also ACRL here in the States. And we're also working on a Chinese higher ed report to be released in Beijing in tandem with Beijing Normal University. We're working in a Brazilian report with Saraiva. We recently released last month a Nordic report exploring Finland, Sweden, Denmark, and Norway in partnership with the Norwegian Center for ICT and Education. And we've done Australia reports. We just did a report with the Cooperative Extension. So they're global, but they're also regional, and also we do sector-specific versions as well. So we're constantly trying to find new ways, to get into new countries and, really track emerging technology uptake and learning trends and challenges there. So we're always open to the possibility of doing more. In a perfect world, we'd be able to get to target every single country and every single learning sector.
So I'm curious, I have a question actually. If you guys can answer it here on site, or if anybody in virtual.
Move closer, Autumn. Move closer.
What's the connection between Eli and releasing this report at Eli? Because that happened last year too, and I didn't know if there was a history behind that or what the connection was there.
Oh,
I
yeah,
was going to ask that question.
Well, Eli supported this work for many years for the higher ed one. How far back does that go, Sam? Do you know?
Well, this is our 14th higher ed edition, and I believe potentially close to our 10th collaboration with ELI. So they are significant in their support of this project, and the work would not be possible without them. So they're our constant collaborators.
Yeah, and I mean, I see Malcolm, and I think
2007
names. Some people
10 years.
realize names in the top of the report. But also, interestingly, Eden used to be with EDUCAUSE and now is with NMC. So that's like taking it a step further, I think.
I have read the Horizon report cover to cover, and one of the things that I was having I don't know if it was like excitement or a challenge going through was, I know a resource that would be great for our community on this. One example is the culture of innovation, which is, let's see, where is it in here? A long-term key trend in accelerating higher ed technology adoption, right? So change management, change is hard, right? So having a culture of innovation. So EDUCAUSE has a self-assessment tool for assessing your culture of innovation on a maturity index. And I thought, what a great way for people who we share in our community to learn something about what's going on in the culture of innovation from this perspective, and then be able to have a tool that is provided by EDUCAUSE to go and get a different perspective on how they're doing and personalize it to their campus. So that's
Is that free to use? Is that a free to use tool?
That's something that I am no longer privy to. I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it's on the website. I think they have different layers of access for different types of number levels. But culture of innovation, EDUCAUSE, Google it, and it'll pop up what the resources are.
Yeah, at least last time I checked, it was free for members. So you have to be, the institution has to be a member, but I think after that, there's no additional, at least again, last time I checked. We can, I can check, I can see if I can track somebody down here and maybe get that answered. And we can post that.
That's a really interesting idea. I love that. And tell them in their face, you guys, this is what you're not doing right. So it's helpful. Thank you.
Can I ask another question? That'll be my role. I'm the question asker. So if one wanted to be on an expert panel, how expert do you have to be?
Pretty darn expert.
That's a great question. I have to say, we really benefit from a diverse perspective. So we have practitioners, we have institutional leaders, we also have technologists, people from industry, people from government. So really, if you are passionate about the role of innovation and technology in the future of education, and you work with it directly in your environment, then you absolutely can contribute to this project in any number of ways.
Cool.
Christina, you're definitely in.
Oh, am I an expert?
No, seriously, I'm not saying that just to butter you up. I mean, you have done so much. You definitely could add a lot to it.
And Christina, you're an international expert. You're an international expert because you're in Canada.
Right. U.S. Canada.
I do want to be mindful of time here on site because I'm keeping these guys from reception. So
Building social capital.
You're right.
We're building social capital.
But
Is that what we call drinking?
Want to, but just want to check in with everyone.
It looks like Bryan has a question.
Oh, great.
Well, one thing I find fascinating about Horizon is that it used to be emphasizing the technology, and now the technology is roughly 1/3 of the report. And I'm kind of interested in how people react to that. I mean, there are people who only see the technology, not to name names except Stephen Downs, but it's also a much more ambitious report to really go beyond the technology and think about, we're discussing the challenges and opportunities facing higher education and technology. I mean, that's a really ambitious scope. I'm wondering, what do you guys think about that? Is that working well? How do people react when you see this, when you show this to them?
So that actually connects with something I was thinking, Bryan, which is that when I have tried to show this to faculty, there's been a lot of resistance. And I think that mostly comes from the fact that I'm in a position where the faculty are looking for me to tell them what's coming. And when I give them the data that I work with, some faculty, now some will latch on to something and say, this would be very good. And others just kind of seem to freeze. Okay, so tell me which one of these I need to pay attention to for the coming year. And that's because they have real students who are ready to be taught right now.
If you guys don't know Joe, that's especially funny to see liberal arts faculty refusing to read. I mean, I just find it
DLDR.
There's a difference between reading and internalizing. I mean, and I think part of it is
especially when a report is like 30 pages long. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
a big ask.
Whether
it's 60 pages long, so that's a big difference between 30 pages.
No.
Oh my God! Yeah, our students don't read 12 pages.
I'll need a friend to help me read.
I think there's a bigger part of it that's the psychological unwillingness to go on the speculative journey that the report kind of requires. And actually, what I was thinking of as Samantha was talking, I was thinking maybe the answer is that I need to run a Horizon report-like process on the campus and say, okay, let's assume that these are the shades of things that may be only, and you tell me which ones are resonant and which ones look.
I'm plagiarizing this idea. I'm going to do this.
I'll race you.
Yeah.
Let's see who does it first.
Self-plagiarism.
I think it was done sometime in the past. There are a couple institutions that kind of followed that process, and I think also it's kind of the focus on the report as a single thing, as opposed to what if it's part of a longer, like, sustained conversation and discussion, and the challenges and the other one, I'm like, just take more to process than looking at a list of 6 technologies and saying, oh, look what they predicted, and I think. They're the bigger things to talk about.
I mean, I'm thinking faculty in each context will come up with different things because context, right? I mean, yeah, these are trends, but which ones do we think matter, and what things apply to us that don't apply there? It'll be an interesting conversation to bring up, rather than like you say, just taking it as it is. They're liberal arts for me as well, so liberal arts they should be questioning and all that.
Yeah. Well, I think
something that is. It's part of what we're talking about at the NMC, and that's how do we personalize this. And not to tell turns out of school, I've been at the NMC for 11 days. Today's my 11th day. So, but we do
phone secrets.
Yeah.
You can still do some experting.
You got 30 days, right?
30 days. Yeah, I got 30 days. I'm on my honeymoon period.
You have till Thursday.
Till Thursday. But you guys are hitting on something that we recognize, and how do we determine the relative horizon for each institution, and so we can meet them with the information that they need and the way that they need to consume it. So I think that something like this brings legitimacy because we all, I'm assuming that we're all old enough to have grown up in the exclusive Gutenberg Press model of how we consumed information. So the thud factor has some aspect of legitimacy here, but that's not how we consume information anymore. I think there are really good design models embedded in the Horizon report right now, we need to modernize the delivery method. So all of these 2-pagers on the different technologies and trends, that's, if you just want to learn about, just pick a page on adaptive learning technologies, and that's what you guys are studying right now on your campus, and that's what's important, then you have 2 pages of, hit the information to work from. But taking it out of context might not be appropriate for everybody, because what the trends, challenges, and technologies do together provides the ecosystem approach. And so there is an audience for that as well. So there's lots of different needs that we need to meet. And we can only do so much with something once it's printed. But we're having lots of good discussions about the future of the Horizon Report.
I really like the diversity of the case studies. I was just looking through those. And then you get a link to see more about the case study, right? So at least you have an overview of it and where it's coming from. But it also reminds me of a question that I'm going to pose to everybody, actually, because my colleagues and I have to prepare a presentation about typical and exemplary practices of blended learning at our institution. And we were just having a discussion of what exemplary means. And a colleague of mine was saying, well, exemplary just means it meets the learning outcomes. And I said, shouldn't everything sort of try to meet the learning outcomes? And then what's exemplary should be something that does this better or in a way that couldn't have been done before, or that was innovative or something like that. And so I can't remember the process exactly for choosing the particular case studies, because some of them sound like they're something that I haven't heard of before, and some of them are like, oh, well, student blogs. I was like, so what's special about that particular case study of student blogs? So just a general question for everyone, like if you were involved in something like this, or just in general, what would you do?
Yeah, I do think that this idea of exemplary, though, is in of itself sort of on a continuum. So you might look at a student blog and say, well, that's just a student blog, and like I totally get that. But I can guarantee you there are any number of colleges across the country for which student-centered blogging would be a revolutionary idea on campus. And so I think the report, to some extent, the examples need to sort of run that continuum so everybody has a chance to see something that they would like.
Blogging is still pretty radical for a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true. Keep in mind, this is also a global report. So, we're coming at it from all different levels and all different perspectives. But one thing I will say that covers the territory, of our previous discussion about usability, but also, exemplary. Something we've added this year is we know that, 18 topics is a lot. And read independently, it's sort of like silos. So we wanted to kind of tell a larger story. What do all these 18 topics culminate to? What are the big picture themes? What messages is it sending? So when we talk about exemplary, if you look at the executive summary, there's kind of 10 big picture themes. And when I think about an initiative or project, I would love to tie it back to these themes. So one of the themes, for example, is advancing progressive learning approaches requires cultural transformation. So when looking at a project or initiative or a pilot, is it something that aims to change a culture? And is it something that measurably is changing a culture? Another one is lifelong learning is the lifeblood of higher education. We know professional development and ongoing training is important. When we talk about implementing a new technology, what sort of PD is kind of baked into that adoption process? So this is sort of the first step with some of the new features into delving deeper into that. I think there's still a lot more we can do, but this whole notion of what's exemplary is really getting me thinking about how we can further help, with impact and help support people.
And I think the things you've talked about, Sam, are really good. Go back to what Ian was saying before about the limitations of the delivery mechanism, right? So you're describing kind of a web of interlocking concerns that sounds kind of like hypertext, like the web or something, and yet we're delivering a PDF. So, I mean, we've been aware for a while that while this is valuable and it's a demand for a lot of people, this is what they want. They want a book. They want something they can hand to somebody. But it doesn't meet all needs, and it has its limitations. And as we get more sophisticated in the analysis, it's just not going to be able to show those kind of connections in a dynamic way, nor does it spur an ongoing conversation. When you get this kind of says, okay, we figured it out. There's a place in the back that says notes. You can add your own notes. But other than that, it's pretty well baked, right? I mean, it's bound. It sends a certain message. And I think we want to send a message that's much more dynamic that says, yeah, if this is what you want, you can print out a book. But what we really want is a conversation starter and a forum platform.
This, you know, when you were just describing that, it sort of made me think of what Joe was saying, and it made me think about, you know, it would be useful if you had like, oh, well, this is what we're saying. Here's a tool for measuring how it would happen in your institution, and like a sort of a workbook page where here are some questions you might want to ask in your institution or how. That's a little bit maybe too structured, but it might help. It's like opening, like helping open the conversation that way, and then maybe virtually that allows that comes if people want to. I don't know if you do. If you use Bryan's FTTE to discuss different parts of the report or things like that.
Yeah, so that's a really good segue. I agree. We need to do more that's dynamic and allow for more discussion. Right now, we have a monthly series called NMC Beyond the Horizon. You know, a couple months ago, before the holiday break, we did one on digital literacy where we had, you know, panelists from different parts of the world, and we have a really great program of Beyond the Horizon events that discuss, you know, various parts of the report coming up on tap for winter and spring. And it's a way where we bring, you know, different people working at different sorts of institutions and even different learning sectors together. You know, it's great when we can bring together someone from museums with someone from higher ed and libraries and K-12 to talk about one of these topics, because it's impacting different learning sectors different. There's so much that we can learn from each other. So I would encourage you to check out on nmc.org/events. We have a bunch coming up soon that will dive a little deeper, at least into having a forum for discussions for these reports.
Well, I find, you know, once a year I do an event in the Northeast for the NERCOM group where we have a day-long discussion on the Horizon report. And, you know, you think about it, if it's a 30, or I'm sorry, on steroids, 60-page document, you know, that's, if it were an ordinary document, that'd be the kind of thing you could discuss in 1 hour. But these days take 7 hours because people have so many questions, so many comments, so many ideas. And that's from a relatively narrow slice of higher education. So I think it's a nice sign that Horizon is now rich enough in covering such a multitude of topics that it really does engage very, very broadly and deeply. And nobody else is really doing this.
I think as a faculty member, to me, it would be really interesting to do that sort of thing. And also specifically what you guys were talking about before, where you take, okay, this is what other people are saying, but what's actually going on our campus, that whole contextualizing thing. And then what we should do now. So given, you know, what's going on our campus, given what this is being said, what we think is important now, you know, come up with some other steps. So.
And then if we can feed that back to NMC could kind of give us a report on what's happening across the board.
If only we knew a couple of people in Ohio who could spearhead a Midwestern approach to that.
Y'all come to Hawaii. That's all I'm saying.
Much better idea.
You said y'all. Y'all come to Hawaii. I did. It's Southern Hawaii.
I just want to be conscious of your time on site. Are you guys okay to keep going, or do you have to go?
We'll wrap up.
Yeah, we probably want to get to the. Thank you guys so much. You guys.
Okay, we'll stay online since we still have Bryan and Rebecca and Samantha and everybody.
So we can.
It's okay.
Thank you so much for taking the time. It was really good to meet you.
Great.
Good to see you guys.
Bye. Bye. So I was writing on the chat, I'm just going to say this out loud, that we could, or no, I don't know why I'm saying we, but you know, somebody could, but I could. Organize like a week-long hypothesis annotation of the document and just say, today we're focusing on this page's X to Y, and then move on that way. And so people who are interested in just one particular topic could join for that particular day and see everybody else's. And of course it could keep going because it's asynchronous, right? But I don't know how it's just it's a downloadable report, right? It's not on it's not a web page. It's a report that you download, right? You can still annotate it, I'm just asking.
Correct. Actually, I don't want to overstep my boundaries with our CTO who may be listening, but we are working right now on a more dynamic web version. So that is in the cards for the near future.
That's cool.
Come on, Gordon, let's get that done.
Christina's just saying maybe spread it out, not just 1 week or whatever. Yeah, sure. take a, I don't know. We
Yeah,
can
I was thinking, okay, if it's going to be like Monday through Friday and I can only do one day, you know, that
Well,
week.
the other thing is this is a CC by publication, so somebody can take the PDF and put it on a web page. You wouldn't be violating anybody's rights to do that.
Oh yeah. I mean, I know I said this before we got started, but I just want to reiterate, especially to anyone who might be tuning in, is, you know, it's a honor and a privilege for me to get to, you know, help write this report with the team. But once we release it, it really belongs to the people. It belongs to you guys. And we're always excited to hear how you're using it. I know some people put together panels or use it in lectures, but so I'm inspired by any sorts of new ways to have really robust discussions around it. So I'm really in favor of this idea. +1 for me.
Well, if you want, I mean, we could always have the online book club read this for a few weeks. I mean, we're almost finished right now with Sarah Goldrick-Grab's Paying the Price. So maybe in a month, we could devote, say, 2 or 3 weeks to this.
It'd be really interesting, and I think the timing would be fantastic for us because, again, you know, we're doing strategic planning, we're rethinking the Horizon report, and
sorry, Michael, is we your CSU or NMC?
No, the NMC. I mean, I'm the chair of the NMC board, and so the board's actually meeting on Thursday to do strategic planning in Houston. So that's why I'm coming in tomorrow, and we're meeting with Eden to spend a day doing some strategic planning. But that's just the start, and so we're really interested in building on what's really good about the Horizon report and what it's accomplished, and then trying to take it to the next level. And you know, we've had a lot of ideas and a lot of people on the board and people outside the board. There's been a lot of very, I think, very thoughtful critique that's gone on about what the Horizon report is and what its strengths and what its weaknesses are. And we want to take that strength and that sort of brand name and the fact that millions of people see this. I mean, I think that gives us a huge responsibility, right? On the one hand, we're thrilled that 3 million people download this report. On the other hand, it's kind of scary, right? It means, wow, it really matters what we say because people are going to take this and they're going to use it to do things. And I think the staff and the board together take that responsibility very seriously. So we really want to look at, you know, where is it now? What are its strengths? What are its weaknesses? And then take it to the next level, both in terms of the methodology of how it's produced and how it's delivered. So that's a lot to do, but you know, this is the single most highest impact thing that NMC does is this report. So again, we take that responsibility very seriously.
Can someone say something about the online book club, just like what it is and how you join?
That would be Bryan.
I am not actually the online book club, but I do run this. So this is a regular online event where we work through a book. I'm usually 1 month to 2 months. We have a hashtag for the discussion, so that appears on Twitter. And then I blog the event. So on a regular basis, like once a week, I'll blog about a chapter or 2 chapters. And then people comment on it, or they write on Twitter about it, or they write in their own blogs, and it just kind of shambles like a steam MOOC. Here, I'll put in a link in the chat if you're checking that out. So we've read
extremely loosely organized, so people. Like, I generally start out with grand ambitions, and sometimes I actually finish the book. But Bryan reads too damn fast. he like reads like, you know, 100 pages an hour or something. It's hard to keep up with him.
That's the virtue in living in a place that's dark and cold.
Well, that means we're more literate. It means we're more literate than places that are warm and wimpy. But
absolutely, you go.
But the nice thing is the Twitter can fade, but the blog posts are up there, so you can always check in. So we've read a lot of books on education, a couple of books on society, and over the past year, read a bunch of near fiction, science fiction, to try and get a glimpse of where education could get going. And so people do come back and check those out. So. I'd be glad to see you.
You can always storify the Twitter if it's worth it. It's just random, right? It's not like Twitter chats or anything, right?
Right. Well, not random. It's just continuous. So
okay. What's the hashtag?
It's different
right now.
It's
different from the book. So right now the book is Paying the Price, and the hashtag is actually
Paying the Price.
Paying the Price.
See, I missed the part. I missed the part where we switched from Horton Ferry to Paying the Price. I didn't finish Horton Ferry, and I have Paying the Price.
Oh,
but I never. Oh well, whatever.
The embarrassment of riches, Martha. We have so many wonderful things to get into.
I'm reading children's books. So this is like, I have a keynote coming up, and I'm going to talk about children's books in the keynote because that's what I read every day, like for hours.
Well, that prepares you very well for talking about faculty politics, I think.
It prepares you for everything, I think.
Hey, it's Winnie the Pooh's birthday today.
Nice. Which birthday is it?
He's like 300, I think.
Oh. I saw Christopher Robin speak once.
Yeah.
Christopher is his real name.
He's the kid, right? Not the father. Or is it the father?
Right. Yeah. The kid, I mean, he was the son of the author, who's named Christopher, and Robin might have been his middle name. But I saw him speak. He wrote a memoir about growing up with Pooh.
Wow.
I heard he was traumatized by it.
Yeah, he had a lot of nightmares about Pooh with an axe coming at him in his bed. Gothic.
I had nothing to do with it.
Wait, but a bear is your logo. I'm sensing some kind of like occult connection, Brian.
There is a famous 1970s mashup of Winnie the Pooh and Apocalypse Now.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Look, I'm just waiting for the CW to come out with a horrible, crummy version of like Eeyore and his Psyche, the way that they've ruined Archie comics for me.
How did they ruin Archie comics? What did they do?
Oh man, I don't like, it's not my type of programming, but I was watching a show and I saw commercials come on for a CW show called Riverdale, and it's like the dark side about the Archie characters. And I'm thinking about these beloved characters that I learned important life lessons from at a young age, thinking, why? There's like murderers afoot and scheming and scandal. I'm like,
that's so weird. Why? Well, okay. Apart from that, though, when I grew up, I realized that we're supposed to like the guy who's a two-timer, and I still don't understand why that's okay. Like, I used to love Archie growing up, and my parents didn't mind, but I'm thinking about that. And why was that okay?
Totally not okay.
I hear he gets paid back in that show, so.
Personally, I was a Jughead fan, and I had the Jughead hat and everything, so I was more with Archie.
Were you a fan when he was a misogynist, or when he turned into liking girls, or?
Oh my God, I need to just like wade through all these childhood memories and reinterpret them now, you guys. This is like, I need some serious work.
We know the Brady
you can
Bunch.
Go back all the way. Say what?
The Brady Bunch are all devil worshippers. You know that. I made that up. This is really devolving. I think it's time to go.
Fake news.
It's nearly 2 a.m. here, so I could, I can go crazy now. Start saying crazy things. Okay, thank you, everybody. Does anybody want to say any last thing? Dipali, I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to hear from you, but Brian, go ahead.
Can we hear from Dipali?
Hello, everyone. I'm multitasking a little bit. I'm sorry. I'll have to. It's so nice to see. I think I have heard Brian. You are invited as a guest at Folsom Lake College, and also Ellen at the Folsom Lake College Innovation Center. That was long time back. You were our guest speakers, and one of our colleagues, Zach Dowell, is friends with you. And so
I love Zach. He's a genius.
So we have our small team. I'm an adjunct faculty. I teach small business management, entrepreneurship, and business diversity related courses here. Thank you so much, Maha. You are my hero and role model, and all of the virtual connecting team, Autumn and Helen and Rebecca. One thing which inspired me the most was the innovative and entrepreneurship in all of you, and able to connect with everybody I'm so thankful. And great conversations about, I'm missing everybody's name, sorry, pardon me. See, Christina and Michael. I've seen you on Twitter, yes. Thank you so much. I was interested in collaboration, how collaboration and connecting, and with the new Horizon report that we can do best worldwide. So those are the little things. And Ellen, I love the storytelling. I have read a lot about you on your blog. I don't get to blog so much. I like to think, and I do a lot of other things. I like to cook and garden and do a lot of art craft work and do little business projects. But I love everybody's blogs, and I love everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Devon.
Thank
Actually,
you,
I
Polly, that was so sweet.
blog and I don't think I just blog. But please say hi to Zach and tell him I really miss hanging out with him. I don't get to see him much online, but I hope to visit him sometime when I get out to California.
Sure, everyone is welcome to Folsom. Folsom is a very small place, but everybody's welcome here.
I like the sound of that.
Thank you, Polly.
And you're welcome here.
Thank
Yes.
you, and you're welcome here too, but you may want to wait to come to Chicago till summer.
Yes.
Hey, our president thinks it's the most dangerous place in America. I had
80% of my household murdered. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, again?
That's a horrible joke.
So the question I had was about Horizon was, I guess this is a question or a proposal for you guys. Are you thinking about using any of these technologies to explore the Horizon report further? So, thinking about either having some kind of automation to either have, at the very least, say, a Horizon bot tweeting out thoughts or comments, looking into some of the next generation LMS structures to possibly host conversation. I'd like to build or have someone build an adaptive learning project with it. I mean, there's some precedent for this.
We didn't want to tell you, but we're working on an AI simulation of Bryan Alexander.
I don't know if it'll work.
And the advantage is that he'll have sites around the world at places with high bandwidth. So when you're not available, there will always be a sort of redundant Bryan Alexanders around the world.
I love that idea. I love that idea.
So if the real Bryan Alexander's not available, the AI Bryan will be there to tell you what's coming in the future. And we're getting a lot of interest in that. So we think it's a good business model for NMC. There's going to be a Second Life version of Bryan Alexander as well. So we're pretty excited about that.
That'd be a third one.
Third Life, yeah. Thank you.
But I love that.
Seriously, I have to admit, it's not something that I've really thought about. Sam, I don't know have we had any discussion about that? I think we've thought maybe more about some newer technologies, but not necessarily something that cutting edge, but it's an interesting idea.
I think at this point, everything is and should be on the table for discussion. I think it's a great idea. I mean, I'm immediately excited and inspired by it. So let's talk further. Let's see what we can do. Let's explore the possibilities.
Okay.
Oh, good.
And with that, I think I'll go off the air. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And there are a couple more virtually connecting sessions tomorrow and one more on Wednesday for this conference. And a lot more to come this year, inshallah. So, back from Cairo. Bye.
Get some sleep, Ma.
Thank you
so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you. Bye.